Thank you so much for clicking on this video to watch. I so appreciate you taking the time to do so. If you want to help support me as an independent writer and speaker, I have a Patreon page where you can support me for as little as $1 a month. That supports these videos and my writing, and link for that description box below. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Hello there, people of the world, and welcome to today's episode of Coffee Chats with Jax. About a year ago today, I was told that I needed to leave the city that I was brought to by the same people who brought me there, like ASAP. And as painful and confusing like that was, which that was following 3 months of me pretty much coming to the rockiest rock bottom I ever had. You see, if you've been keeping up with my videos this year, you'll know that I've been talking about depression and eating disorders and sexual abuse and anxiety. This year has been the first year that I've really taken like a head-on, feet in the dirt, let's figure this out approach to it. When I was living in Boston for 3 months, I was hiding behind a mask more than I ever have in my life. And you see, that's a coping mechanism for a lot of people, but it's a pretty common one for myself. It's a coping mechanism that I use pretty much whenever I go through something hard, and so it's something that I have to be aware of. Is I numb out and I put a face on saying everything's okay. Whether that looks like numbing out by watching a show on Disney Channel or numbing out by going out to a party and getting drunk with friends, I pretend the world is fine and I don't tell anyone that I'm actually like drowning on the inside. And so that was happening for the entirety of the 3 months that I lived in Boston, and I wasn't eating anything and I was really depressed. I had extreme suicidal thoughts, like pretty much nightly. It scares me now reading back on my journal and how often I entertained the idea of taking my own life. Like, that stuff's really serious, and I feel like what made it even more serious was that I wasn't telling anybody about it. I was just hiding. And this video right now today feels like a celebration to me because I'm coming to the end of 2018, and to be honest with you guys, I didn't know I would make it this far. I don't know if that comes across dramatic, I don't know if that comes across like made up or put together, and I don't care because it's what's true. I was at the end of myself a year ago. I left this conversation with these people that claimed me as their family, and I went and I packed up my things, and I had 2 hours till I was gonna catch my flight to Nashville. I called my sister and I told her I have depression and an eating disorder, and now I have to leave and I have to start over and I don't know what I'm gonna do. They said I'm not welcome here anymore. That was the first time I said those words out loud. I go to the airport, I get on this plane, I can't even explain to you the kind of like sheer just trauma I was experiencing the whole walk through the Boston airport. And I land in Nashville and I realized that like I have not been me in a really long time, and I forgot how to be me. I forgot what my favorite food is, I forgot what my favorite show is, I forgot what my favorite color is. I was so desperately trying to be someone that was gonna fit in and belong in this specific image that I thought I had to be in order to be accepted and belong in Boston. And I shoved myself to the side, and it was killing me. I knew it was gonna be a really, really hard year, and I knew I was looking at certain things that were now out in the open, that now I spoke out loud to people like my sister who was gonna hold me accountable to them. There was a lot of therapy I needed to go to. There were a lot of real meals that I needed to learn how to make and eat. So the one thing I did this year that I really regret, right when I left Boston, I jumped into a relationship with a guy. And I was thinking about that this morning, and I was like, what happened? Because this guy like wanted to get married like ASAP. There were so many red flags, but I ignored all of them because it felt like an escape. It felt like a solution to my problem. Like I could skip over the pain of what just happened in Boston, the rejection, the hurt, the shame. I could skip all that and jump into this relationship with this guy and just let him make my life better. 3 months into the relationship, I start to realize that 1, I don't even really know this guy. Story for another time. 2, what have I done? Why have I been trying to avoid real stuff in my life by jumping into something else? Jumping into the next new big grand adventure. So I broke up with him. And that's when I started to actually process and feel and understand my pain. And it was hard. I went to a lot of therapy and I had a lot of conversations because the people that I was surrounded by were not letting me just skate on by. I was about to rob myself of so much healing, of so much growth. When you numb out through pain in a story, you also numb out from the lesson, the beauty, the wisdom, the empathy you're gonna get afterwards. I was depriving myself of so much by trying to just put a band-aid on it and let this guy rescue me away on the white horse. That's not how it works. So I started going to therapy, and I started to try and eat meals, and I started to make videos that kind of explained what was going on. And I wrote the first like 3 drafts of my book, Finding Home, which I'm now rewriting again for the final time. Every single day I was just in a coffee shop writing and spending a lot of money on coffee and trying to figure out how to make sense out of all this. What is home? Where do I belong? What kind of people do I want to have in my life? How do I let myself eat a real meal without feeling the need to go run 10 miles afterwards so that I know that I earned it? How do I go to bed at night and wake up not wanting to be dead because life is too hard? Like, these are genuine things that I felt. The second after my worst, most like intrusive, hard counseling session, I was in so much pain, and this is so classic Jackie. I jumped in my car and I went immediately to 5 animal shelters trying to adopt a dog because I couldn't sit. I couldn't deal with my stuff. I couldn't sit in the pain. So I ran around the city of Santa Monica trying to find a dog to adopt. Enter Phoebe. Remember that puppy I had for a while? Well, like 10 days? Yeah, which just ended up being its own anxiety attack in its own, which is, again, a story for another time. Here I am at the end of this year, and I have never felt more whole. And it's not because everything's okay. It's not because everything is fixed, but it's because I'm okay with who I am. Home is not much different than belonging, and part of my problem was that I didn't feel like I belonged to myself. I didn't feel like I belonged in my own skin. It's like depression and an eating disorder are just symptoms of feeling like a prisoner trapped in your own body, because that's how I felt. I felt unlovable. And now my problems didn't go away, but they're just part of my story. And they don't mean that I'm unloved. They don't mean that I'm broken, that I should be ashamed and disgusted with myself. They don't mean that I'm down here and everyone else is up here. Instead, I'm surrounded by people that love me and celebrate me, and we get to sit in the cracks and the broken stuff together. I get to tell my friends when I feel like the most depressed I've ever been, and don't get sent to the other side of the country as a response, but instead get met with love, get met with empathy and friendship. I didn't mention this before because I was kind of nervous about the responses I would get, but I've been seeing other people posting similar things and realizing that it's not that much of a taboo, and they've changed my life. So I want to let you guys know that I have been taking antidepressants for maybe like 4 months now. And as all my problems haven't gone away, and I still have mornings where I wake up completely just obliterated, they have helped me so much. So much. My therapist recommended it, and then I went to my normal care doctor, or whatever it's called, and they've changed everything for me. I used to have shame talking about that, and I used to kind of be nervous with who I share that with, because a lot of the times in the Christian world that is frowned upon. I'm here to say that if you feel the need to see a therapist or see a doctor or talk about this stuff in more of a scientific way, there's answers out there and there's help out there, and you are not wrong and you have nothing to be ashamed about if you need help, because sometimes depression can be an actual chemical imbalance in your brain, and there's ways that we can work through that, and there's no shame in that. So that's my story. That's where I'm at. I feel really good right now. It was a messy, weird, hard year, but it was the most beautiful year I think I've had in a really long time. I feel like I was like introduced to who I actually am, and I'm really excited about it. And now I'm excited to post this video, because so take that, internet. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.